The thirst is real.
Hi, my sissies. Welcome to another episode of Thirst. I'm super excited to be joined by my wonderful co-host, former Mr. World and TV host, Frankie Chenna. And today we're delighted to be joined by entertainment and lifestyle reporter, Miss Katie Scott is in the house.
Hey.
How are ya?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here and talk about Drag Race.
Yes, it's been so good. I'm so curious about your thoughts. But before we dive into today's episode, I just want to send just so much well wishes and good vibes to the family and friends of Chi DeVayne. As we know, she has passed. She's the second Drag Race girl to pass following Sahara Davenport. And it's just sad. She was just such a bright light and just such a fierce competitor. But I'm happy, if anything, we got to see her twice on her original season and on All Stars. So rest in peace, Chi DeVayne. But let's kick things off with this episode. We're at top 5. Just so you know, we have a lot of interesting stats that I think can help determine who would have been eliminated this episode. But we have Rita with 3 wins, which is major. Jimbo and Priyanka have 1, and Lemon have 2, and poor Miss Scarlett BoBo has 0. It's just crazy to think about that. You know, you could be in the top 5 with 0 wins. It's impressive, really, kind of in a way, in a weird way, in a backwards way.
I don't know. When they were going through the stats, I just immediately wrote down, like, Bobo 0, time to go. I hope this is foreshadowing for elimination.
Which it didn't, but we can break that down when we talk about the end of the episode. But go ahead.
Yeah, so let's get right into the mini challenge, which you guys have to tell me if this is a Drag Race staple or not. It was the puppet reading challenge, where basically the queens had a puppet of another queen. They had to put the puppet in drag and then play as the puppet. Very entertaining to watch, but yeah, it was a little strange for me at least.
Yeah, they do this a lot on the American one. But it was interesting because I think what Canada did better, the puppets looked better, like higher budget on the puppets. So great for that. And it was more of like almost like a reading challenge. Like these girls went in.
I was surprised by Rita. So shady. Just literally called out Jimbo instantly.
Right. Any other?
Yeah, I loved it.
I loved actually when Lemon, this is probably my favorite read, when Lemon goes, oh my God, and people think that you're Tynomi, even the judges. That's why they put you in the bottom. I was like, that is like clever wit. Whether she wrote it before or not, I was living for it.
And then Jimbo's line about Scarlett. Actually, my name is safe.
And that is the vibe. I feel like she's so safe right now, and especially without her drama with Ilona, I'm like, okay, so where's your camera time now?
Right, interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The solo sissy.
Yeah.
Then they gave Bobo the win, and I was like, oh no. And this was the start of my like fear of what's gonna happen in the episode. I'm like, are they just trying to lift her up before they take her down, or you know what's coming? But it was her first, and I hope her only win on the season.
The shade.
I'm sorry, Bobo. I'm so mean to Bobo every week, but you know, we got to have our favorites and we got to have people we don't like. There has to be winners and losers.
Exactly. And I'm not a huge fan of Rita, but I will give her that for that challenge. I thought she was the best.
Me too. Agreed. She was my choice there.
Yeah, and especially to air all that out in front of Jeffrey. Because remember, Jeffrey doesn't see any of that footage and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, you are savage, and it's also like good competition. Because now Jeffrey's probably going to look at Jimbo sideways. On the runway.
Jeffrey holds grudges. He holds grudges to a T. Like,
so true.
Very, very smart move. So that concludes our mini challenge. We go to the Maxi challenge, and like, just props to the producers, to the directors of this episode, because it was just a beautiful episode, you know, covering a really, really important charity, Rainbow Railroad, which brings gay refugees to safe places where they can be themselves. And the whole episode was really about that, and actually getting to transform some of these people who've been helped by Rainbow Railroad by putting them into drag. So very, very interesting concept for sure.
Yeah, and what I loved is like, these were really men to see the transformation, if that makes sense. There was no kind of easy pick. When Scarlett got the chance to cast, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be good because they're really gonna have to transform these men.
Totally.
I was afraid that Jimbo was gonna make his drag or her drag daughter a scary clown, but I thought that transformation was the best one. But holy shit, it was so amazing.
Right. Before we dive into the runway, just want to say, like, how crazy is it that it takes $10,000 to escape these countries? And it's like, I thought when they're like, oh, we're making a donation for $10,000, when they said one person, I was like, wow, we have so much more work to do as a community, like thinking about how we can, like, in Canada, we're in this bubble almost of like, everything's fine and dandy. But there's like, what would they say, 70 countries where it's like, you can't get married, in 6 you can get killed. That's nuts to me, absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it was very informative and educational, and yeah, I mean, $10,000, that's your flight, that's a couple months of rent, that's food, like,
true.
It's expensive. Relocation is expensive, you know. So, but yeah, very, very cool insight into yeah, such an important charity.
It made me want to donate my savings right away. Like, just one person for 10 grand, we all need to do so much more.
Yeah, and I think that they'll get a lot more donations, I think, from like Canada Drag Race really amplifying that charity. So I'm really excited. Yay, Canada. It just makes me proud to be Canadian.
Yeah, for sure.
So should we kick things off? We're gonna do Quench and Parch for the runway looks, and then also kind of break down their makeover, which is kind of more of the challenge, more so than what they were wearing. But up first we have Priyanka, and she had, oh, I wish I could remember his name, but he was from Jamaica, tall.
Elton, I think?
Elton, yes. He was very butch, and then when they came out of the runway, I was like, oh, she made him over.
She shaved his beard.
Yes. And you have to remember, like, a queen like Priyanka's only been doing drag for like 2 years, so it's a lot to get yourself in drag and then get somebody else. Yeah, my only problem with it, just to kick off, is that he has very broad shoulders, you know what I mean? And sometimes what happens is these girls, they bring their makeover look like before they get there, you know what I mean? Whereas I think you almost have to bring an idea and then shape it around the person, if that makes sense. Because his shoulder just looked, it was like very jarring to me. But either way, it was a good concept. Priyanka is back. It is a quench for me.
Katie, what did you think?
I loved the colors, like how the colors popped together and the feathers. It wasn't too much. I just thought it looked like classy too.
Yeah.
This was such a hard week for me from the reality, like from the competition side. Maybe because I'm a newbie, but I was just struggling to, what am I judging? What am I looking for? Is it about the transformation of the guy, or is it about the look, or is it about the team? Like, so I'll be honest, I was all over the place, and like this week was just like a big question mark for me on elimination. I had a parched for them. I know that they won the week, so clearly I'm on a different planet, but I just didn't like the look very much. I thought it was really basic, and my opening opinion when I saw them come out was like, oh, like, I feel like me and my friends could do that, and I've never, experimented with drag or makeup, so.
Right, it's always so tough too with the first one, because you're like, what am I comparing this to? You know what I mean? What are the others gonna be? But either way, it was, Priyanka's had a tough road, and she was a clear front runner at the beginning of the race, and then she really had those 2 weeks struggling, and I think now she's like, I gotta secure my spot in the finals. So I'm just happy that she's been able to do that. Up next, we have Lemon and Lime, which, oh, poor
so unique.
Lime. I mean, it was tough. It was tough. And I just think that Lemon is just super, like, she looked great, but her poor Lime, I mean, it was a parch for me. I can't, every time I look at Lime, I just can't help but laugh, which is not the objective of the challenge.
And that's the thing too, because you don't want to judge like the people getting the makeover. You don't want to hurt their feelings, but definitely parched for me too. I was bored, so bored. Even with the wigs, the way I just wasn't feeling it at all.
Yeah, like props to the Canadian judges for like balancing being Canadian nice, but also still being critical. Like at first, this is the first time I watched with friends and they were like, oh, like, why are the judges being so nice? Is it because they're Canadian? And I'm like, well, no, they're actually really fierce, but they're trying to respect these like 5 guests. Right. So I'm glad they like tore her a new one in the deliberation because, oh my gosh, I was scared. It was like Halloween makeup. Like it was like the Halloween challenge for Lemon, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's tough because it's like, this is how front runners really, it's just, all it takes is just one challenge. And really if you look at the makeup, she highlighted her nose more than she should have. So that where it's like all makeup techniques really come in hand. Because if you know how to, blend somebody's face better, it would have looked a lot better. Up next, I was so shocked that Scarlett BoBo picked this man. He was from Uganda, but I just felt like she could have picked an easier makeover for herself, if that makes sense. You're in the bottom, not bottom, but in terms of stats, you are doing the worst. And then you picked the hardest makeover. She somehow still turned it out, which was impressive. I think that her makeup skills came in handy. I just did not like the look. I did not. It left me parched. Scarlett BoBo has given us such art on the runway in such bright moments that this fell flat for me. So it was a parched for me.
Yeah, the tassels and everything too, and the colors, it's just not it. I understand that she's trying to like showcase her makeup talents, like from being a makeup artist, and it was a bold choice. And if it would have really worked out, it could have been like, oh shit, Scarlett BoBo's like doing the thing now. But yeah, definitely parched on that one.
Yeah, like I completely agree. I'm a reality TV purist, and like this episode it was just all a bit fishy. Like I was like, judges, this is not a good look. Like stop making it seem like she's gonna get in the top. Like it was, I mean, it's gonna keep coming as we go through the episode about where I think producers probably were a little heavy-handed on this one, but I really wasn't. Every week so far, I've agreed with everything the judges like, and the eliminations, the tops, the bottoms, I've been really on board, but this was just a really odd week for me. So.
Right. And I think it's like true because it's like you bring up good points. Like, what are we actually judging? Like, is it their outfits? Is it their makeup transformation? But I think what they like to see is like the presentation more so in a way. Like they want to see these men feel comfortable, I guess, in a way. And I think that's what Scarlett did better than the others. Like that man, you could tell was like, at the beginning so uncomfortable, but then towards the end on the runway, he was kind of serving a little bit. So that's probably why she got like some of the higher praise. But up next, we have swinging excellence week after week is Miss Jimbo. I mean, in this red latex, I will say the makeup was a little bit tough. I just felt like, I guess that outfit might have been hard to get into, and she spent so much time on making over her partner, which if anything, I respect more than her. Imagine she did herself up and then put janky makeup on her partner. But yeah, I don't know. They turned it out to me. I loved it. I loved the cock destroyer vibes. It was a quench for me. And I thought, I get why Priyanka won, but I thought Jimbo could have easily taken this as well.
I definitely agree. Quenched, my favorite look ever of that, maybe like all of Drag Race so far.
Really?
Favorite. Yeah. Like Jimbo the walk concerns me because I feel like she doesn't have her walk down pat, but I just loved the makeover from the hair to the makeup to the outfit. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, if this was a transformation challenge, like, oh my gosh, like definitely by far the best. Like I really felt, I think was it Ika? Was that Ika? I forgot the guy's name, but from Indonesia, apologies for ruining the name, but like that was a true transformation. Like I was fully convinced. There was no like you wouldn't have known it was a transformation challenge. You would just think like they've done drag. So that was amazing. Outfit was amazing. And then we find out that she sewed the outfits herself. Like it's just mind blowing. And Jimbo again, week after week, so far ahead of everyone else. It's almost uncomfortable because I think that she could win every single week and that just wouldn't be good TV if someone won every single week. So they have to find like BS reasons to give it to someone else because it was epic. It was epic.
Right. And I just don't know. I don't get it. I really just want to do like a round table with producers to just be like, tell us what is happening. Because it's like Rita Baga has 3 wins. Like why can't Jimbo have 3 wins? And why can't it just be like, ooh, is it going to be Rita or Jimbo? Like, I don't really get the whole protecting Jimbo from her wins. It's so annoying. But up next in this one, it's like I'm actually so curious about your thoughts because I loved the story. I loved almost everything, but when you piece together, if you remove the elements like the hair on its own, the looks on their own, it's very Halloween costumey, you know what I mean? But where they kind of delivered was the story, you know? So it's like, if we're really judging presentation and makeover, she kind of did that. But in terms of just looking at them, it's a parch for me. But I do think that the story could have saved her from the bottom.
Are we talking about Rita?
Yes.
Parched, definitely parched. Hated it. Hated the look. Hated the clown vibes. I was bored. And I don't know. I feel like if you have to explain the story after the judges ask you, that's just trying to save your own ass in a way, I guess. But like, I just was not feeling it. The clown noses.
So I agree. There were like not perfect moments in this, but like I was still extremely quenched by this. I love the story. I love the gimmicks. Actually, Rita's makeup was extremely cool, I thought. And I think she did a really good job on her partner or daughter as well. So, I mean, I thought there were some really, really strong elements. I mean, maybe I just love Rita so much that like she can do no wrong for me. I'm happy to admit that my bias is just too far gone, but I loved it, and I did not think that was a bottom 2 performance.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's just so crazy. Like, I could have argued it. And while we're at it, like, let's talk about who we think would have been your bottom 2 picks. But I think there could have been a way. Obviously, Lemon was the worst. That was tough. But I think they could have gone back and forth between a Scarlett and Rita Baga. And if you look at overall resume, really it should have been Scarlett, you know what I mean? And I would have imagined like Scarlett sending Lemon home. It would have been such an interesting kind of like narrative, you know? But to have somebody with 3 wins send the queen with 2 wins home was just like, it's a lot to process.
Yeah. I think based on the looks, I would have had the bottom 2 the way it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Scarlett's was also really not the best. So, but yeah, Lemon and Rita for sure still.
But the funny thing is they had Scarlett 2nd and Jimbo 3rd. So like Scarlett wasn't even near the bottom for them, which is like, I am so curious what they do with her in the next episode. If she makes the finale, I will be like utterly shocked. But this episode is scaring me because the pattern should have been that Bobo was eliminated, because they've really been like taking out the trash every week. So it's like, why did you keep her? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So there is something up that we're not seeing that I'm worried about next week, because this was the first time going into the bottom 2 that like actually my heart was like palpitating, because I did not want one of them to go home.
Right. I mean, it was one of the top 3 queens in my books. Like, I thought they were both going to the finale. But I like when this happens, you know, when your front runners are up and you're like, oh, fuck, this completely changes it. But how interesting and dope would it be to get to the finale, not having won anything, like just being consistently topper in the safe, and then just being at that finale. Like, it's just, I think it's a really cool narrative, and we almost haven't seen it on Drag Race. Usually you have a win under your belt, at least 1 or 2 or 3. So it would be kind of a cool narrative. She'd be the first queen to do it.
But that's my fear. Well, that's my fear. My fear is that the producers are trying to give us that narrative, and then she's going to freaking eliminate like Priyanka, Rita, or Jimbo next week, and I'm going to be devastated and have a breakdown. So like, I think that narrative is going to be boring. So I hope that they don't follow that.
And fans would go insane on Twitter. I feel like the producers would get so much backlash if that actually happened. Like, she didn't win anything. How does she deserve to be in the final? Like, she's got to step it up. Stop being so safe.
I mean, it would have been cool, almost thinking about it out loud, if Scarlett was in the bottom this week and then she was in the bottom next week, figuratively speaking, And she just gave such an iconic lip sync to send two queens home, you know what I mean? Because that's almost like a respect thing too. Like, oh, you are a lip sync assassin. Like, you sent two front runners home. Like, I wish that was a part of her story too. But yeah, I mean, we have to talk about this elimination. This is arguably one of the most charismatic queens. She gave us such bright moments throughout the season. And to come in fifth, I'm like shocked about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, like Katie tweeted about this before we got to this podcast. So Katie, kick it off. What are you wanting to say? And I'll respond.
Well, Lemon was doing all the work, like flips, the splits, everything. And then Rita's just walking in the background slowly, just doing what she wants to do. My eyes were on Lemon. I did not look at Rita once.
So, like I said, the first time I've watched with friends who don't, who watched before but are not like super fans or anything, and they were all just like, "Oh, it's so obvious, Lemon's gonna win. Like, what is she doing? She's hiding in the back." And I'm like, "No, she is using the stage. She is using every corner of that stage. She is drawing me in. Look at her facial expressions. I could feel Rita in that lip sync. I could feel her emotion." And I could feel that she was going to stay in this competition. So I am very happy.
So we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Yes.
But I love the passion.
Right. I think it brings up this interesting argument that we've kind of seen a little bit in, I want to say, the Kiara Priyanka lip sync. But it's like, what do you want? Emotion and emoting the actual song? Or do you want the tricks and the flips and the dancing? I think, which is interesting, I'm surprised we haven't had this yet, but that could have easily been a double stay. I think Kiara and Priyanka also could have been a double stay, which they do in the American a lot. I've heard that they weren't able to do a double save because of episodes. They didn't have enough episodes.
Yeah.
So that's like where the producing of it all kind of fucks it up. Like, I wish it was just like, damn, they both gave us such moments and they both have been front runners. Just keep them both and eliminate two people next week, you know?
Like Scarlett.
It's just tough because in a way, I just feel like it really was old school drag versus new school drag. Like Rita Baga is, you know, that's how they perform. They really get into the song. It wasn't about the stunts and the flips. It was all about feeling the Alanis Morissette of it all, you know? And she did that. So I got why she stayed. It was just like sad to see Lemon go. It really, really.
But also, like, if you can't do the splits, like, can you not win Drag Race? Like, I'm sorry, but Lemon is a dancer. Like, Rita can't do that. Rita's brittle bones will break. Like, it's not possible. So I don't think it's fair, like, under that criteria that, like, Lemon would then win every lip sync. So it's hard. I'm a fan of the lip sync being judged in combination with the performance of the season. I don't think it should ever be like just the lip sync. I think that would be unfair in my view. So I'm glad that they took a holistic approach to this one.
Right. I mean, I do like when because what I love about the lip sync format is like you can trash the challenge, but then claw your way back in by like serving it. I do like that. However, they're both front runners. So it was like, if it was like Scarlett versus like Rita, imagine if like Scarlett just ate her up and like crawled her way in, like how iconic would that have been? So now we have a shakeup. I have to say, Frankie, we got our upset. Remember, we were like, it's going to be an upset. We finally got
Neil wanted the upset. Yeah, he wanted this.
I just wanted a front runner to be eliminated to just shake things up a bit, and we got it. I was shocked it was Lemon. But I mean, who do you think your top three is? I mean, I think I know the answer.
It's just too obvious. But yeah, go, Katie.
Priyanka, Jimbo, and I guess Rita, because I'd like to see Rita lose at the end.
Oh my God, Frankie's gonna crawl across the screen and punch you.
Oh no!
I think I was with someone last night, one of my friends, Kelvin. He is just not a fan of Rita, and it started to get into my head. And then the person who had us at their house, Derek, he is the biggest Rita fan ever. So there's so much fights, and I was like, Kelvin's making more valid points, so now I don't like Rita.
Okay, well then we can have a separate podcast about how much I love Rita Baga. Like I love Rita Baga so much, and I pray that this is a part of her arc. I talk about the arc every episode. characters need an arc on reality TV. This is her arc. This is her low moment before she makes it all the way to the end and hopefully wins Drag Race. I mean, I love Jimbo too. So Jimbo, Rita, like, I can't go wrong. I would be happy either way. But I think, like, Rita's character work, it gets me all the time. The moment she comes onto a stage, I'm just enthralled by her. So I'm hoping for a Rita Jimbo, like, face off.
Right. I think that it's going to be Scarlett BoBo at the end. I think that is an interesting narrative that we never seen. So she's my first spot. And I think that it's going to be Rita Baga. And then I think it's either Priyanka or Jimbo going next week. And I've also said this out loud. I've heard rumblings that UK girls are being called for the American All-Stars. So I think, and this is just my prediction, Rita Baga will win the whole season. And they will use Jimbo and Priyanka for All-Stars.
Oh, that is interesting. I would love to see that.
Right, because I just think, I mean, Scarlett BoBo can probably keep up with an all-star cast too.
Stop lying. Why are you lying? Why are you lying?
I'm with you on this, Frankie.
Is Scarlett in your room? Like, Scarlett, come out. Are you holding him hostage? Like,
I like
no
Scarlett
sense.
BoBo.
You're acting
so
like the
boring.
judges last night. You're being too nice.
Exactly. She's so boring.
I love her. I don't know. I'm excited for her. I think she's going to make it to the end. I think we're going to get another huge upset next week. And I think it's going to be Rita Baga. I think that I think that it's been renewed for a second season. I want to say I heard that somewhere, but let's say it wasn't. Yeah. I think that they're going to want to make sure whoever wins is an iconic Canadian drag queen. I feel like, for example, someone like Scarlett, someone like Rita, they've put in more work in the drag community in terms of time versus someone like Priyanka. Priyanka's an all-star. I love her. Don't get me wrong. I just can see from who are we going to crown? You're going to crown somebody doing drag for 12 years and has challenge win over someone that's been doing it for 2, but is still a superstar. Like, Priyanka's a fan favorite no matter how you shake it, right?
Yeah, like all of the stuff she says is so funny. So I feel like that's why everyone's always like, yes, Priyanka. And we all have pictures with Priyanka, so we're waiting to post them when she wins.
Right. Oh my God, I wonder if she's going to do another brunch or booking fee. She's going to be like, I need $10,000 now. I'm a Drag Race Canada girl.
You can be like, remember that time that you bailed on us last minute?
Right. Oh my God, you're right. But I'm so excited because Frankie's possibly going to be in Toronto for the next brunch, so we can literally be doing this live, fingers crossed.
Yes.
So we have 2 weeks to the finale. All in all, I have to say, I mean, Canada's Drag Race has been doing the damn thing. I've been entertained thoroughly. They're really giving us some bright moments. The Rainbow Railroad, like, if Canada Drag Race could be nominated for an Emmy, that episode on its own gave us so much heart. And, like, I don't know, just feeling things. And then to get the upset of Lemon, it was just like a lot of emotions.
Yeah, I was like almost in tears because of the stories that these men came on and were telling. I'm like, I'm so happy to be Canadian, like crying. I was also drunk, so.
Yeah, the show makes me so fucking proud to be Canadian. It really, really does. And to see the talent too, like, the American Drag Race girls are watching this and being like, oh my God, they're impressed by the Canadian talent. So it's just really, really cool. But before we wrap up, any final thoughts? Anything you want to shout out?
I think I need to start giving Rita some more attention after Frankie's argument because there's a lot of passion behind that. So maybe next week I'll go in with an open mind, just for you.
Good, and I'm just nervous for next week with Anil's predictions and I'm really excited. Wait, what is the challenge next week? What was the preview?
It's
you guys
a
remember?
ball. Yeah, so it's a ball. So when they do the balls, it's 3 looks that they have to put together. So one's usually one they have to make in the workroom. One they usually bring with them, like it's already made. You know what I mean? And it's
okay. Then Jimbo is not going home next week.
You never
like,
know. Oh, true.
No.
Design challenge. Right.
Jimbo cannot go home on a design challenge, and that's been the thing.
Right. Oh my God, Priyanka doesn't sew.
It's Priyanka. Priyanka or Bobo. It's Priyanka or Bobo.
Don't talk about Bobo like that.
Bobo's in the room. Watch out.
Yeah, she's in the room. Be careful.
But yeah, oh my God, I just forgot it's a design. So you're right. things might be looking gloomy for Priyanka, but we shall see. Okay, well, thank you, Katie. Where can people Insta-stalk you and follow your life?
Kat Scott, so KATTSCOTT on Instagram and Twitter, Katie Scott News.
Awesome. And Frankie, where can people Insta-stalk your life?
At Frankie Chenna, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Awesome. And I'm Neil Joshua, ANEAL Joshua on Instagram and Twitter. This is Thirst with a Y. If you're listening via podcast, wherever you're listening to, make sure you take the time to subscribe. Give us a little review, only if it's nice. And as you know, we are now coming to you through the YouTube space. So subscribe on that channel, thumbs up, give us a comment. And always remember, guys,
the thirst is real.
Bye, cunt.